Welcome to another OU Insider Under the Visor Sooners podcast. My name is Brandon Drum. I'm here with Parker Thune, and it is that time. SEC Media Days, what we've all been waiting for outside of the start of the season, obviously, is now upon us. Man, we're going to talk about it, what we're looking forward to. Obviously, the players that are going to be there, Jackson Arnold, Danny Stutsman, Billy Bowman, the three big names at Oklahoma, not named Dominic Williams, I guess, would be kind of who they brought. So, yeah, it is what it is, and it's going to be fun. Parker, I know we got some ads to pay. We're going to talk about the SEC Media Day. We're going to talk about Floyd Boucard, Oklahoma's pending decision on July 21st. One of the fastest rising defensive tackles in the nation. Miami, USC, Alabama, Oklahoma seem to be the top four that he named. We'll discuss that, and then we will also discuss a little bit more on Fasusi, and we'll get creative because college football 25 is coming out Monday. So we'll do all that right here. But Parker, let's pay some bills.
Yes. Quick word from our sponsor here. This episode of the OU Insider Under the Visor podcast is brought to you by our friends at Chubby's. And once Brandon and all the rest of you get your giggles out of the way, let me tell you what an amazing brand Chubby's is. They offer a huge variety of high quality men's apparel. I own one of their Friday shirts. It's probably my favorite shirt in my wardrobe right now. They have the original stretch shorts, which are fantastic, very stylish, very comfortable. From the super stretchy shorts and swim trunks and 3 insane lengths to pants, polos, and button-down shirts for when you need to hit up your favorite weekend brunch spot. When others see you sporting Chubbies in the wild, they're bound to say, oh, wow, that person's wearing Chubbies. I now immediately respect them and think they're cool. Now, for a limited time, Chubbies is giving our listeners 20% off your order with our exclusive code. That's code OU Insider at chubbiesshorts.com. From the original stretch shorts to the Friday shirts to the Chubbies Classic Line swim collection and so much more. Go ahead and take advantage of our exclusive deal to get started on Chubbies. Again, folks, for a limited time, our listeners can get 20% off with the promo code OU Insider at checkout at chubbiesshorts.com. That's 20% off your order with the promo code OU Insider at chubbiesshorts.com. Support our show and tell them we sent you. Don't just blend in with the crowd. Stand out with Chubbies. You going to be able to hold it together?
Sporting Chubbies in the wild. That got me, dude. I am so immature, and I apologize. I can't help it, dude. You said sporting Chubbies in the wild. That's all. Yeah. And if you do that, and that's your thing, we hope it is, and that you go to chubbies.com and buy a pair, or just sport your natural chubby in the wild.
Moving on.
All right.
We're going to talk about OU football.
You already knew where I was going. Reel it back in, Parker. Reel it back in. All right. The easy question, right, is what are you most looking forward to SEC Media Day?
I think for me, it's probably just gauging Jackson Arnold's demeanor. And I have a good idea of what it's probably like. We've spent enough time around Jackson Arnold to know that he's a cool customer. There's a lot on his shoulders, though. And it's been talked about quite a bit in this market and nationally. But I honestly, I'm not sure whether the national media understands how much pressure there is on the quarterback at the University of Oklahoma. Because, for instance,
I think they do.
Do they? Because I'm not sure the national media would have.
I get where you're coming from. So I've done 2 radio hits, ESPN Florida and ESPN Alabama the last week.
Okay.
And yeah, that's the biggest question is how much pressure is on Jackson Arnold and OU, but they do follow with, so I get where you're coming from, and the Oklahoma offensive line. It's how much pressure is on the OU offensive line and Jackson Arnold. It's not just him standalone. So I guess I do get where you're coming from a little bit. Yeah.
The offensive line is no doubt, nationally speaking, the perceived weakness that most see with OU football in 2024. But what I'm kind of talking about is, for instance, would the national media have looked at Dylan Gabriel's play the last 2 years and had really any issue with his level
No,
of performance? No. But
he was elite.
OU
Yeah.
fans hold their quarterbacks to an incredibly high standard. And I fully expect, Brandon, I think it's reasonable to expect that Jackson Arnold will take his lumps in year one as a starter. Now, what does that look like? I don't think it's going to look like throwing 5 interceptions in a game like Landry Jones did in 2009 up in Lincoln. Like I don't think Jackson Arnold is going to be that erratic with the football. But no doubt he will have some freshman moments. Yes, we saw him a little bit his freshman year, but for all intents and purposes, this is his first real dive into starting action since he was a senior at Denton Guyer. So there is a ton on his shoulders, especially as the Sooners not only transition to the SEC, but take on a gauntlet of a schedule that's one of the toughest in the nation. And
Right.
so just to see how he continues to handle himself when there is that much external pressure on him to perform at a high level for Oklahoma, he's definitely the one that I'm going to be scrutinizing most closely at SEC Media Days because you kind of know what you're going to get with Billy Bowman and Danny Stutzman, right? Those two are they've been around the block a time or two. I'll put it that way.
I I do think you do you feel like you know what you're gonna get with Danny Stutzman and Billy Bowman, but I think we've seen a little bit different Billy Bowman here recently, particularly on social media. He's he's quick and he's snippy right now. He's got a little edge, and that kind of goes with what. Remember before he even said anything, right? To Jackson Dart, what 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah, something like that.
Remember we were doing the live or podcast, and I told you what a source told me about Bowman in the off season and what he was doing, and just how ferocious he's been with his teammates. You see that Jackson Dart tweet, and you go, okay, that tracks, right?
Yeah.
Like with what
Well,
we're hearing. I expect, as odd as it sounds, and as quiet as Billy Bowman is, he's also feisty. So I I I kind of expect one of the SEC media people, not us, not the local guys, the national, the people that are going to walk in with their nose up at Oklahoma and their players, right? Like that's going to be we kind of feel like that's going to be the sentiment there, right? Like a lot of people are going to have their nose up at Oklahoma and Texas, right? Like you don't really belong yet. You're just into the conference, and it's going to roll into the players, I think, a little bit with the media. So I could see an interchange between Bowman and one of the SEC, whoever they cover, and it getting kind of fun just
well,
because of his personality. You know what I mean? Like we know Billy well enough to know that he don't take off anybody. That's just who he is,
well, and
and his and his
even
fiance.
less so during his senior year. Because I look,
Yeah,
Billy and Danny could have both gone and played NFL football after the
correct.
2023 season and been pretty high round NFL draft picks. Uh, you don't come back for your senior year when you already have that kind of NFL draft stock. You don't come back to screw around. You
Nope.
don't. There's going to be a high level of intensity.
Yep.
And it's going to be those two guys that are driving it on the defensive side of the ball for the Sooners.
So ironically, I think the most judicious player there is going to be the freshman or the sophomore, excuse me, Jackson Arnold. He's
Really?
going to be the most judicious. Yeah, I think he's
I,
not. He's probably not going to say anything. Jack,
Danny Stutzman has become remarkably judicious over the last
he
couple of
has,
years.
but he's also funny, and he will say something to be just off the wall because that's who he is. Because he's going to go in there, and yeah, he's going to be business like a lot. But I think once he gets relaxed, we've seen it. He's very relaxed around us, the OU media, because he's been around us for 4 years, right? Like he's a robot a little bit, but at time, but also you get to see like the fun day. But we've also known Danny since he was in high school, so like there's a little bit different. Like I wish people could really get this taught to Danny Stutzman, like off, like get what we get off camera, right? Like he's funny. He might be one of the funniest people to ever play at the University of Oklahoma. He's very quick witted, by the way. Um, but I just I just can't see Jackson, and just because we know him, um, like the Jackson I know that is around my oldest boy, right, when training, right, like is not the Jackson that's going to be in front of that mic. They're two separate human beings. Like he is going to be very business, and he's going to probably make sure his words are very leisured and very measured and very uh careful, I guess would be the other way I'd put it. I guess it all means the same, but like it's just he's just I just feel like that's what he's gonna do. But something's gonna come out of this. Whether it's I think Venables gets kind of underplayed a little bit on how quick-witted he is with the media sometimes, because he does say some things like he pokes the bear. He'll poke people. Like he's not afraid to come in. I almost, I guess, how surprised would you be if Venables comes into the SEC media days and he's very, I guess, this a very planned way of doing things, and he comes in with a very coarse remark to poke somebody somewhere within the conference to make sure that everybody knows that they're not afraid. Would you be shocked?
It wouldn't shock me.
To set the tone?
I
It
think
sounds
back to last year,
BV-ish.
Big 12 Media Days, and was it Mario Cristobal that BV kind of took an underhanded shot at? Was that what
Yeah, he
everybody was
took
talking about?
straight. Cristobal was taking strays left and right, but that was also after he got his ass kicked on the recruiting trail a few times, and BV was just feeling himself. Which, ironically, we can get into that because that kind of goes
Yeah,
into,
speaking of,
yeah. But let's finish the SEC media talk first before we go. He's talking about Floyd Picard, people. Um, yeah, I just want something fun to happen. Like I always have been watching the SEC media days from afar, right, for years, and something cool has always happened. Somebody said something they're not supposed to say.
What is it like being a player from Texas to cross the Red River and play for Oklahoma?
It's great
Why did you make that decision?
because I like to win.
And was that the difference between Texas and Oklahoma?
Yes.
I want something like that. I want to, I don't know. I love that type of stuff because I think that that's what makes the media day fun, and it's not just the same old same old. I think that's boring as crap sometimes, and I think that's sometimes what we get. I don't expect that just because there's so much hype in Oklahoma and Texas. I'm interested to see what people have to say. Other teams more than Oklahoma and Texas. Like if you could pick of all the people, do you have like names from other teams that you know that are going to be there? Do you want me to pull the list up?
I
Because I
mean,
just I want, like, what team do you think? I expect Lane Kiffin to take a shot at somebody, right? I
yeah,
know
I
his
mean, we'll
dad
get
just
some.
passed away, but in RIP legend, right?
Yeah, Monty Kiffin for real.
Monty
He
Kiffin's a legend,
one of the
yeah.
greatest to ever do it.
At
We'll get some
Nebraska for
colorful
sure.
stuff from Kiffin. We always do. I imagine we'll get some colorful stuff from Eli Drinkwitz. Enjoying this episode of the Under the Visor podcast? There's plenty more exclusive content, including team and recruiting intel from the market's top insiders, when you become a subscriber. Head to OUinsider.com to get started today and join the vibrant online community of Sooner fans on the Rivals Network. It'll only cost you a few bucks a month, and take my word for it, we'll make it worth your while.
I hope that God Missouri's brought up to the OU players and the BV. I do. Because we know that there is no love lost inside the Switzer Center for Mizzou right now.
No, I don't like Mizzou.
Like, do you think that those would be your, like, Kiffin, Drinkwitz? Who else would be it? BV. Venables will say something. He always does. He's very calculated in how he does it and why he does it, but he'll do it. Um, who else?
I mean, those are the easy
That'd be the
ones.
list.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You don't think Sark will do anything?
No, no. Sark at this point in his career he is a media pro. He is the ideal coach for the PR team.
Except for when he
say,
tells somebody to get their effing hands off of him.
well, yes, unless it's an off-camera moment. What he thinks is an off-camera
Yeah, I
moment.
was
with
gonna say it was
Alamo
on
Bowling.
camera, bro. What about Brian Kelly?
Well, you think we'll hear the fake Cajun accent?
That's what I was about to go. I was about to say, yeah, we're gonna go down there and we're gonna. Yeah, it's
Welcome to
just
the
all of a sudden gonna
SEC.
come out. Yeah, what would be SEC? I don't know, man. Levy. I'm excited to see Coach Levy. Jeff. I'm excited to see Jeff. I love Jeff. Um, I'm trying to think who else would be. I guess Josh Heupel. I think that's going to be interesting. Though he is such a. You talk about somebody that's like media savvy, right? Heupel. Ever since he was at Oklahoma. Yeah, I guess that's it. And I guess Beamer likes this. Beamer will go off the rails a little bit. Shane's a character.
Yeah, Beamer's fun, but
And
he's
like,
not
yeah,
like
he's the best. He's the
yeah,
best.
he's not like a dysfunctional fun.
no, he's
like,
the best. Yeah.
I
the
like
best.
Beamer.
All right.
Okay, Floyd Boucard.
Yeah.
We've mentioned it on the podcast before. I'm not sure most OU fans truly appreciate that this is the present reality. But I mean, when you look at the scoreboard, Brandon, Brent
it's bad.
Venables freaking owns Mario Cristobal on the recruiting trail last couple of
Yeah.
years.
He's stuffed
And-
in a locker. Mhm.
And I had kind of figured for a while, and okay, still kind of do, like that the worry hasn't totally abated, but kind of felt like Floyd Boucard was going to be a real good opportunity for Miami to get one back from OU. You know, add another tally mark. But as we sit here a week out from decision day, OU seems to be in a pretty good spot. Now, no decision has been made. No staffs have been informed of a final call from Boucard yet. So there's still something hanging in the balance there.
Yeah.
But as we all kind of expected, USC has progressively faded more and more to the point where nobody's expecting that he's going to pick USC next Saturday. I don't think. I kind of still had that expectation until a few days ago, at which point it kind of became clear that this was becoming, the deeper it got, this was becoming more of an OU Miami battle.
Yeah.
And all of the losses that USC has had from their 2025 recruiting class on the defensive side of the ball probably don't do them any favors there.
Yeah, well, they might lose their quarterback too. That's the crazy part. Like, I never thought that I would live in a world where Oklahoma was worried, or excuse me, USC was worried about losing a quarterback under Lincoln Riley, or just Lincoln Riley in general, no matter where he was at. I know he lost Brock Vandagriff back in the, yeah.
Caleb Williams ain't walking through that door though.
Yeah, but we knew instantly the second that Vandagriff was, because I was down at that Elite 11. And at that time, I had just gotten really acquainted with Carl. And before the decommit meeting even happened, he was saying off record, I'll just walk on at Oklahoma because that's where I want to go. Like, and he got that offer on. I literally put in a crystal ball shortly after to Oklahoma, and everybody called me crazy. He was going to Georgia, blah, blah, blah. Originally, he was going to go to Georgia. Like, that's where he was headed, was Georgia. Oklahoma came in and changed that whole world up for him. And
Georgia plus Caleb Williams for that 3-year window would have been
would have
problematic.
been nasty, but it wouldn't fit. Like, Caleb doesn't fit Kirby. Like, that whole area, there's a whole list of reasons why. But yeah, I agree. Totally agree. That would have been just unfair.
Georgia was already the best team in college football.
Yeah, they had a
3 years
walk-on
ago.
that was looking like a stud.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, if Caleb Williams goes to Georgia, maybe Stetson Bennett never becomes the local legend that he is down there now.
Right. Right. Oh, by the way, the weirdest thing, I'm driving up from Jacksonville to Outer Banks. I'm in Georgia. You want to know what I still see on I-95 is a Marvin Jones Jr. in Bulldog gear saying that they need to go. If you have issues with the car accident, go check out this law firm. And he's in all Georgia Bulldog stuff still. So I thought that was kind of weird. So,
I mean, some billboards just get left man.
It,
Like,
it looked like it
I
just
mean,
got
shoot,
left.
I
It was
drive
just
south
faded
on
and-
I-35 from OKC to Dallas every single time I make that trip. I think it's like south of Purcell or somewhere. There's still a billboard out on the out on the left of the highway that says Trump 2020, keep America great. Has
you
not
went
changed
there.
in 4 years.
You went there.
Has
They
not.
just need to go put a 4 over the just cross out the 0 and just put a 4 there.
Well, that's what I'm
Scrape
saying.
them.
You would think at some point they would have updated that
Yeah.
billboard. But no, it's been the exact same and hasn't changed in over 4 years now.
Yeah, it's like I guess that little novelty shop right on the has changed names like 5 times and it's still I can't remember what the name is that's on the billboard, but it's like the one from like 1995 still up there that says like novelty shop I'm talking about, right? I don't want to talk anymore about it, but like right as you cross the Red River into Texas, it's
Yes,
right there to the right.
I know the establishment to which you were referring.
I just call it a novelty shop. I don't know. Never been in one of those, but yeah. Yeah, they still have a billboard up there that's like old. It's not even the same name from what I remember.
Anyway, we got
Anyways,
off track.
yeah.
Floyd Boucard.
Yeah, we did.
We went
Floyd
Floyd
Boucard.
Boucard to novelty shops in the span of 3
We
minutes.
did. Oh man,
That is
the
called a
weekend.
digression, folks.
Yes, it was. Very apologize for that. Yeah, you're right. I think Oklahoma leads for Boucard right now, but I don't know what that's worth at Miami Central, to be honest. 7 days out, right? He's announced on July 21st. Like, what is that? What is leading right now worth? And that's what I have my issues with. Like when I talk to people, they're still confident it's Oklahoma. And when I talk to people down there that are around that program, that know people within that program a lot better than I do, they still think it's Oklahoma. But Miami Central is a feeder school to the Miami Hurricanes. And yes, if you talk to the media that covers recruiting with Miami, they're still saying Card's not going to be a Hurricane. He's just not. I'm finding that hard to believe still, Parker. Like I'm struggling to believe that. Like I want to believe that because it lines up with everything that I've been told. But I've also heard a few other kids were going to Alabama and they were going to Reuben Bain in Oklahoma were a thing for a bit, right? Like
Yeah, but they were
that was a
always...
thing, but it was never something we believed in because his brother was at Miami and his former head coach was on the recruiting staff there. So it was nothing that we like fully believed, but it was like there was belief that the OU visit made some marks with him. And I just never bought into that because it's Miami Central. Like when you go down there, it is so Miami Hurricane led and rightfully so, right? It's literally a 10-minute drive to the campus. So I don't know. I don't know what to feel in this one, Parker. Like, and I mean that for all you listeners and people that are watching this on YouTube, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know.
kind of the same way. Like
I don't know. You hear OU leads, but that's great. Still 7 days. NIL, Miami Central. If he goes to OU, Todd Bates is a bad man. Bad man.
you know what it kind of feels like?
What's that?
Think about a recruitment that we were all tracking literally 1 year ago to the day. And that was
Williams Winery.
no.
Oh,
That's not where I
okay.
was going. Jaden Jackson.
Jaden
Remember
Jackson.
Jaden
Oh, yeah.
Jackson had that commitment date and
Yeah.
we were getting close to it and nobody seemed to know. And obviously it in the last 36 hours, 48 hours, something like that, it became apparent that Oklahoma was going to be the landing spot for Jaden Jackson. But up until that point, you were here in Miami, you were here in Ohio State, you were here in Texas, Florida was in the mix. Things were kind of all over the place. And that's kind of how it is right now with Floyd Boucard in that nobody seems to have a firm handle, including us, on what he's going to do. And we may not until a lot closer to decision day, but it's it's always interesting when you have a kid that has a date like this locked in and you're this close to it, and he doesn't even seem to really know where he's going yet. I mean, I
but
guess
that
the
when they say
easiest.
that, do you believe when they say they don't know where they're going? Like I think they know where they feel they know where they're going. And then I think 24 hours, 48 hours out, money starts to change hands. And
Well,
that's
and see, that's kind of my thought. Like the easiest explanation for why there's no indication yet on which school he's going to pick next Saturday is because the final NIL offers haven't hit the table.
correct.
Think
So
back to Lamont Rogers last week, right? That one
Yes.
changed how many times in the final 3-4 days because
But we
the
didn't
final
buy the
NIL.
Texas stuff. Did you buy the Texas? I didn't buy the Texas stuff.
For a
Just
minute
because
there, I did, but
yeah.
then it, that all died off rather quickly, and it was OU Missouri as it had been. But I mean, look, the reason why there was any Texas noise for Lamont Rogers to begin with 3 days until his decision was because the final NIL offers were hitting the table, and you don't want to show your hand too early. And so I would imagine that Miami and USC and OU and Alabama probably all. I don't know how keen Alabama is on Boucard right now. They kind of seem to me like the least likely of the four to land his pledge. But USC, Miami, and OU certainly are probably trying to bide their time as much as possible to be able to present their final NIL offer at the most opportune time possible.
One of those NILs are not like the other two, or at least that's what it seems.
They sure act like they are.
Do they though?
Yes.
I mean, they act.
They make a lot of promises, Brandon.
Correct. But you get what I'm saying. They are not like the other two. There's two that are two NIL big dogs between those three, and one is playing with paper money a lot of times. Like fake money. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's not trying to take a shot at them. I'm just going off of what we've seen and what we've heard.
Their head coach occupies the majority of their payroll right now. And they're going to be stuck with each other for a few years. That's fine. Like, honestly, if what that particular individual was trying to do was just get, because he's said in the past in interviews that he wants to get out of coaching relatively early. Like, he doesn't want to be coaching forever. If his end goal was just to make a crap ton of money for a few years, set his family up long term, and then walk away, I mean, hey, he made the right call going to USC. Say that much. Like, if he doesn't care about his legacy on the football side of things, he certainly did what he needed to do to make sure his family's set up in the long run and not have to coach past his current contract.
Yeah. I question.
Sure.
I know you've watched some of those podcasts that have been floating around.
Yeah.
Where they've been talking about Oklahoma. I don't know it's something Trojan. I don't know whatever. It's a lot of the On3 guys, which I'm not going to say what I feel there. But they've taken some weird shots at Oklahoma here recently, which I think is just wild. Like, oh, well, you're blah, blah, blah. You're not like, if you're covering a school, one, stop wearing your damn school logos on the podcast. Stop. I know Parker and I get called homers all the time. And I will admit, I grew up an OU fan. A lot of this stuff behind was from my childhood. And it's a cool backdrop because I'm an OU podcast. But Parker and I are not going to wear I don't even think I've literally given away all my OU stuff, Parker. Literally. Like anything that has OU on it outside of what Reed, what's his name? The punter. What's his name?
Reddy Mustafara.
Reddy Mustafara. They sent us a shirt, Parker and I polos. We wore them for the podcast to help out their business. I love the polo. It doesn't have OU on it though. It just has a bunch of red and white and whatever on it. But that's freaking weird, man. I know I'm going off on a tangent on this, but it drives me. That's like one of my biggest pet peeves. I'm like, dude, stop. Just stop. Like, there's, it just comes off bad. And then you go and you try to take shots and you say we instead of the school that you're talking about. You know what I'm talking about, Parker? Like that type of stuff. Does that not drive you nuts?
Yeah, well, look, it's not the way I would do business. Everybody does business differently. Um,
I get it, but
it
I'm
definitely
gonna say
feels
my
like
piece.
there was that piece from the USC fan
Oh my
sided
God.
site earlier this week. It feels like the anger stage, you know?
Where
Like
is
there
this
has to
coming from? Like, why Oklahoma has stopped talking about them, and now all of a sudden they're like, you're talking about
no,
us all the time.
nope,
Now they talk
nope,
about OU all the time.
nope, nope. Think about what happened less than 2 weeks ago at Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium on SEC
Oh
Day.
yeah, I forgot about that already. Yeah,
Yep, that stoked
but
the flames again.
yeah, I did. Well, thanks, Josie. Though I love him for it. That was freaking hilarious. But it was the truth, and he had been waiting a long time. They can hate on that all he wants, but Joe C has kept his mouth shut for 3 years and said nothing but great things about Riley. He had every right to say what he wanted to say there. Good for
And he
him.
certainly did.
Yeah, good for him. Um, anyways. All right. I percentage you think Floyd Bacard's going to be in the class? Like we all know NIL can change that.
Coin
And that's
flip,
just
50%.
I'm with
I
you
think
on
it's a
that
coin flip
actually.
between
Yeah.
OU and Miami right now.
So that brings us to Michael Fasusi. It's another coin flip.
Yeah, I don't even want to start analyzing that. Like we know when he's committing now, it's going to be August 21st.
Yep.
Uh,
Oh,
we
I
got
was close.
6 weeks to the finish line there.
That is so for people that don't know, that is the day. And I've been talking about this on OU Insider. I said late August. I said between August 20th and August 30th, closer to August 20th is what I've been saying on OU Insider for a while. He told me this date, what? I guess it was right after it was Father's Day, right, Parker? That I called to tell you that it was August. He said August 22nd, but he meant 21st, apparently, when he was talking to me. And that's kind of been the date that even OU had been hearing for a while. I'll put it to y'all like this. Um, that is the day his family came to America, for people that don't know. It's a very important date to him and his family. That is why that commitment date's happening. So I believe Friday was his birthday as well, my understanding. Um,
So there you go.
yeah, so that's why that big announcement was made. I guess it was his birthday as well. I don't quote me on that, but I I had somebody telling me that Friday was his birthday. But yeah, apparently he told me that that was the day his family came to America. So that was a very important day. And um it's a long ways out, dude.
Yeah, and a
For
lot will
Susie.
change.
And yeah, that's just like so now we got to talk about that for a month. But right now, if I was to pick, I'd pick Oklahoma. I would. Not a homer pick, strictly going off the buzz. And that you talk to Texas people, they would pick Oklahoma right now. But the thing is Texas hasn't played their last hand NIL wise here.
No, no,
And
and it won't.
that's the catch
That's
22 with it.
Yeah, that's a recruitment that now that you have a date on it, you can kind of bookmark it and just forget about it until the final week because the final
Yep.
week is where things will get crazy. Until then, it'll be much ado about nothing. Um, how about the new roster release that dropped yesterday on
I missed it.
Soonersports.com? Yeah,
I
we
was so
got
busy yesterday.
we got plenty of updates, heights, weights, New Jersey numbers, all that type of thing. Of
Pull it up.
note, the true freshman summer enrollees, the The 6 scholarship freshman enrollees, or I should say 7, in addition to Andy Bass, who is kind of an unofficial scholarship guy. Devon Jordan is going to be wearing number 12, 5'11", 179. Jeremiah Newcomb, going to be wearing number 21, 5'9", 182. Eddie
Hey,
Pierre Louis.
real quick, where is this at so I can go along with you here?
This is on Soonersports.com. This is the
Okay. I
official
thought they tweeted it
online
out.
roster.
So, okay.
Eddie Pierre Louis is wearing number 55, 6'3", 305. Taylor Tatum going to be wearing number 8. He is 5'10", 205. Andy Bass going to be wearing number 25, 5'11", 208. Michael Patterson McDonald will wear number 45. He is 5'10", 172. How about these two, though, Brandon? Zion Reagans and KJ Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
Reagan's listed at 5'8", 145.
Golly.
Daniels listed at 5'9", 152.
Yeah, they're little. Oh, did
Couple
you
of
see?
pint-sized burners there.
I guess David Stone's lost a little weight.
As has
and I-
Devon Mitchell. He
and
is trimmed up.
he's down to 294. He was up to 305 at one point. What did they have? What did they have Jaden Jackson at? Do we know?
6'2", 300 on the nose.
6'2". If he's 6'2", that means you and I are 6'3". So, anyways,
No, I think he's 6'2".
you do?
Oh, yeah. OU is traditionally very accurate with height and weight listings.
I'm telling you, man, David Stone's lost a couple of inches too on his height. Like he was listed at like 6'4", 6'5" for a lot of times. Now he's 6'3". So, is there anybody else of note? Like what would you say Devon Mitchell was?
He's listed at 6'3", 250, which is down from 255 on the spring roster.
6'2". So he lost 5 pounds. That's
Correct.
not bad. I mean, did you see McCullough is up to 223, up from he was like 208 last year, right? 210.
Desan McCullough?
Desan McCullough, yeah.
He was 222 last year.
What? No.
Yes.
Really? Okay.
Yes, he was listed at 6'5", 222.
Robert Spears Jennings is almost 220 pounds. 6'1", 220. Or
And
219.
yeah, you know who? A couple other guys that are getting close to that 220 mark at safety.
Boganowski's
and Powers.
218. Yep. Yeah. His dad texted me and told me he was 218 last week. That's crazy. That's wild, man. You want to know what? Props to Xavier Robinson. That dude was up to God, man, he was up to 255 at one point, but he was like a fast 255. He was still running like a 4.6. Like he's a load and can move. Now he's 222. I'm anxious to see. I think that's too thin for him though. That's just my opinion because I think around 235 is good for him because what makes him great is his power, right? Like being 235 pounds and running a 4.6 and just being a load. That's what's always made him great because he's always been fleet of foot, no matter how much he's weighed. I just think I don't know. Eli Bowen's only 5'9". He looks taller than that though, bro.
No, he's always been a legit 5'9". He plays.
Yeah, I know, but he
5'9",
looked like he added some height though. I thought he grew a little bit maybe, but Sammy Omostigo is almost 240 pounds, man.
I'm excited for him.
Yeah, that's
Dominic
crazy.
Williams, by the way, his first listing, 319 pounds.
And he's all of it too, but he's not he's like just a buff 319. Gavin Salchuk came in at a whopping 270 or 175. He's 220 pounds now. Or 200 pounds, excuse me. 200 pounds. I said 220. 200 pounds. Crazy. Good for him. That's a good weight for him too.
Yep.
I think 205 would have been good. But the thing is like his brother looks heavier than him. And he's like 15 pounds less. His brother is just yoked.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy their build, how different their build is. Ooh, you didn't bring this one up, and I think this is an interesting one because remember he had lost weight for a bit. You know where I'm going with this?
No,
Atabare, 251.
that's good.
That's great. Good for
That's good.
him.
I think gosh, he was
Remember, he
like,
was like 235, 240 in the
yeah,
spring.
he was not any higher than I think 241 in the spring. So he's put on
Yeah.
at least 10 pounds. That's good news.
Taylor Wine is 270 almost.
He's
260. He is
a
going to
big
end up
boy.
being a D tackle
I think
at some
so.
point. I agree.
Yeah.
I said it,
He's
so
built
therefore I
for
agree
it.
with it. Who else is interesting? I'm just kind of going down the line here. Branson, excuse me.
Branson Hickman is 301.
301. That's a good weight for him. Oh, Woo, 339. Goodness gracious.
That's a unit right there. Hello.
You wonder who's lost a lot of weight?
Who's that now?
Eddie Pierre Louis.
Yeah.
He's only 305 now, dude.
And he looks it. We saw him
Yeah.
at camp. He's trimmed up, muscular, but trimmed up, toned.
Yep. Ashton Sanders is almost 300 pounds now. Good for him, 295. Eugene Brooks is 336.
Yes, he is large. Keep in mind, he was almost 400 pounds as a junior in high school. So he's coming
That's very
down.
true. Yeah. Still, that's a load. Garen Hatchett, 312. Tarquin, 317. Allen, 317. That's some good weight, man. They did well. I'll say this about, so just so everybody knows, I'll say it. If I get in trouble, whatever. I don't care. I do care, actually. Um, I don't think you're going to see Daniel Alkinkumi play until after Texas, if he plays at all this year. He's struggling a little bit. He's had some, obviously, he's been injured. I'll just put it like that. And everybody knows he's rolling around with his, but he had ankle or foot surgery, one of the two. So, yeah, I don't expect him to play. And he was doing really well in the spring too before he got injured. That's the thing, unfortunately. So, anyways. All right. College Football 25 is coming out on Monday at 3 p.m. We will be at the SEC Media Days, but Garen, damn sure that after we're done doing all the work, we're going to be on the sticks.
We will have content for you.
And we will have content for you guys on that. That is going to be a big deal on OU Insider YouTube. So make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channels. And I said channels.
Yes, we have the OU Insider Extra YouTube channel, which will be debuting on Monday.
There you go.
With the advent of EA Sports College Football 25. So keep an eye out for that.
Yep. Also, if you want all the content from SEC Media Days, go over to OU Insider VIP, subscribe $9.95 or for 1 month, or $99.95 for the whole year. Will get you all the way to next year's 2025 SEC Media Days. If you want to give a whole year, which, look, you'll get all the content. You'll get the Floyd card stuff. You'll get the SEC Media Days. You'll get fall camp. You'll get Party in the Palace, Sooners on the Stars, which is a ton of huge recruits, 25, 26, 27, 28 will all be on campus during those two events. Obviously, it's fall camp. All the post practices we get to go to live practices the first few weeks of fall camp, which means we will be able to tell you what is going on live at the camp, like what they're doing, who looks good, who did this, who made a big play, and we'll have all that for you on OU Insider VIP. We will have all the pre and post game coverages. We will have Floyd Boucard's commitment. We will have Patsusi's commitment covered for you on OU Insider VIP. We will have the whole season covered for you. We will have all the national signing days. We will have all the playoff / bowl games, the SEC title games, all that. If Oklahoma does well, they will be on OU Insider VIP. We will have all the junior days, the second national signing day, all the transfer portal stuff, all of it will be on OU Insider VIP plus spring, plus all the official visits, the spring game, everything right there, OU Insider VIP. So $9.95 a month, $99.95 for the whole year. All right, Parker, my man. that is going to do it for this version of the OU Insider Under the Visor Sooners podcast. Parker's camera went out on the last bit of it. We made it through, though. That's going to do it. My name is Brandon Drum for Parker Thune. We will see you guys on Monday after the first day of SEC Media Days. Take care.